Now, our top story this morning, rugby is proud of its status as the birthplace of the sport, which shares its name. But is an attempt to highlight that connection backfiring? 2 years ago, the council spent more than £1 million to open the World Rugby Hall of Fame in the town for 4 years. It predicted raising £160,000 a year through ticket sales, but last year it made just £15,000. So what's gone wrong? BBC Coventry and Warwickshire's political reporter Simon Gilbert went to visit the attraction with Rugby Borough Council leader Michael Stokes.
So, Michael, we're here in the World Rugby Hall of Fame. Impressive surroundings, but I look around now and I can't see many people in here, and that's been a bit of a problem, hasn't it, for this attraction?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are on a weekday afternoon, so we don't expect big groups of people, but we do get a lot of school parties, so it's always good to see them through. But yeah, I mean, it's fair to say that visitor numbers haven't been as high as were projected.
So, Michael, we walk in now into this big, what is really a round room filled with the walls adorned with rugby legends. We've got here big interactive screens showing 6-7 foot projections of these rugby legends. And I notice on the wall there, rugby's claim to fame in relation to the sport, Mr. William Webb-Ellis.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we were talking about this in 2015-16, it became apparent from World Rugby that other towns and cities wanted this. And I think Brett Gosper, the CEO of World Rugby, described Rugby the town as the Vatican of the game.
If this marriage between World Rugby and the town where the sport was born doesn't work, that's going to be embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, you know, this was an investment for the town. We'd always had a lot of pressure from residents to do something that celebrated our heritage. And not only have we done that now with this facility, but don't forget we did this in 2016 in conjunction with World Rugby, and it was a big investment for rugby, but an investment we could afford. But only this year we then had a further investment from Tudor Watches. We invested a further £600,000 into this facility. It really is on the global map, and it really is being supported by some real big names.
£1.2 million, the council investment in this. Do you think that is money well spent still?
Absolutely. And you know, when I stood up in the council chamber and spoke to the council about investing that amount of money, we were always clear that this wasn't a commercial venture, that this was an investment in our town. But I also made clear that it was incumbent on me to then go out and try and find private sponsors to help us offset that cost, which we've done. So this year we offset that by half, 50% from Tudor Watches. So we're getting there. We're still in discussions with others, and we've still got a long way to go.
But you look at those early reports, the projected visitor numbers, £160,000 a year the council predicted it would make from this. It made £15,000 in the last financial year. That seems like a huge difference. If that was a private accountant working for a private firm, they probably still wouldn't be in a job.
Yeah, and you know, private accountants working for private firms, obviously that's their area of speciality. This was councillors, officers, people who'd never done this. This is unique. This is a unique attraction to the world, and we knew it would take time to build up, and it is building up. So it was a best guess really on that basis.
7 months or so now of this financial year gone. How is this attraction performing so far since April this year?
Yeah, it's performing as well as we expected. You know, we won't hit the visitor numbers that are forecast in the reports, that's for sure. And the visitor numbers were too high. As I say, we took a best guess, but they are going in the right direction. We are doing more marketing. This was never meant to be a short term. This is a long-term investment, and we know it'll build up over those years. On average, we're getting between 500 and 1,000 visitors every month. That's not including school trips, etc. We're building on that. We're actually, in terms of the local economy, we've got anecdotal evidence. So, for instance, as you walked in, you would have seen the developments across the road, which is being redeveloped as restaurants. They came and spoke to us and said one of the main reasons for buying that, what's called the Swan Centre, was because Rugby Council have invested in the Hall of Fame. So we know that it's attracting new businesses to the town and helping to increase footfall.
So categorically, you are not losing money for the taxpayer by delivering this attraction?
No, look, this attraction was never meant to be a profitable investment. It was meant to be an investment to celebrate our heritage for the town. We invested £1.2 million in it. which we could afford. It was an investment on behalf of Rugby Borough Council. We've already made more than half of that back through private investment, and it's already built into our forecast. Every year we present a balanced budget, so yes, we can afford it, and it's not losing the council money.
Well, Rugby Borough Council leader Michael Stokes defending their decision to invest in the World Rugby Hall of Fame, speaking to our political reporter Simon Gilbert. Well, let's hear now from Harry Fone of the Taxpayers Alliance, which campaigns to cut waste in public spending. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, Trish. Thank you for having me on.
No, I think I know the answer to this question, but does this sound like a good investment?
No. I mean, I was absolutely staggered listening to the gentleman there and saying, we took our best guess at this. I mean, they were forecasting £160,000. They brought in 15,000. They're off by quite a way there, and it's just remarkable. I mean, I think he almost admitted there that the people that have been working on this were not sort of business experts. And when we pay our council tax, is this really the sort of thing we expect it to be spent on? And I bet there'll be people sitting at home now in their cars or whatever, thinking about all the times they've been maybe let down by the council to do with, social services or some sort of support from the council, and thinking, well, why on earth is money spent on this and not on the important things that I actually think my council tax should be going towards?
Although, Harry, it has brought business to the town. The Swan Centre over the road, the owners say that they only came there because of the World Rugby Hall of Fame.
Well, he only gave one example there, and as he said, this is anecdotal evidence. And whilst I do sometimes give a bit of credence to anecdotal evidence, it's not actually it's not actually concrete evidence, and it's just ridiculous. If this all continues to go this way, the council are going to be left with a shortfall, and it's taxpayers that are going to have to pick up the bill, either in higher council tax, or they might suffer in reduction in frontline services. And it's really quite staggering to hear him say this was never about making a profit. He didn't even suggest breaking even. This was an investment, I think is what he described it as. I'm quite frankly staggered by his choice of language.
Although, Harry, shouldn't councils spend money to champion their heritage?
I don't think they should, especially at a time when they're claiming that their budgets have been cut to the bone, and they are right to say they've had cuts in central government funding. But I think we can all agree that they are there to provide services that their residents need, and this is not an essential service. This is a frivolity, basically. And I really can't believe they thought this was a good idea. And I hope they can. I really do hope, though, that the numbers pick up and they can recoup this money as soon as possible.
Okay.
But they need to do something that's going to get taxpayers off the hook.
OK, thanks very much, Harry Fone of the Taxpayers Alliance, which champions to cut waste in public spending.